You are only and always dealing with the story that you tell yourself. You are only ever dealing with the stories you tell and believe, not the things outside of you that you blame for the stories you create. It's all you creating the stories. So whatever you believe, you be living like that. Just remember. I want you to know that you are always and only ever dealing with your own thoughts and your own stories. Stories you tell and believe could be true. It don't matter if they true or not. You believe them, you be living like that. Even other people are who we believe them to be. Who I imagine you to be and who I believe you are, who I think you are in my story is also created by me. Whether you're the hero, the bad guy, or Mr. Charming, that version of you only exists in my story. I created the character that you are in my story based on what I believe, what I be living. I be living like you the hero. That is only my version of you. This is your role as the character in my story. Now, it doesn't make it true. Stories become real when we believe it, because then we be living it. You will always and only react to the stories that you be living. So what do you be living? And are you going to decide to be living based on what is true? Based on the perception you have of how you've been living? Or are you gonna write and transform stories and decide to be a conscious creator? You will become the story you tell yourself, but it's true, it's right. I want it to be right, and I wanted it to be to tell the truth. I want it to be right, and I wanted to tell the truth. But I'm learning that truth is relative. My truth is going to be based on the stories I tell. The story I tell are made up by my perception of whatever I'm observing. And my perception is based on judgments I have made about what's right and what's wrong, what should be done and what shouldn't be done. My friend LT always say believe is a believe, which I love and totally on board with. But I also feel like believe means be living. So whatever I believe, I be living like that. Is it true? And what do I believe? The real question is, how do I react when I believe these thoughts or when I believe this story? How do I react when I believe this story? That's more important than it being the truth. Because how I react when I believe this story is controlling my life. Doesn't matter if it's true or not. Many things can be true at the same time, but the story that I choose to focus on will bring about an emotional reaction related to the story I tell, and create different narratives and judgments about what we're seeing. The narratives and the judgments that we create based on what we're seeing give meaning to our story, which create an emotional reaction, and then we respond. You've been telling a lot of stories for a long time, and that's why you feel the way you do. But I promise you, if you decide to tell a different story, you will feel differently. And when you feel differently, you will respond differently to any situation in your life.